Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Michele Bachmann said why she knows Trump is a man of faith. Libs are flipping out. Liberals seem stunned as to why Donald Trump, a man who has enjoyed a party lifestyle in the past, would still have such deep support from America's Christians. Somehow, they forget the fact that President Donald Trump has done more to promote Christian values in official government policy than any other president in our country's history. Former Minnesota Congresswoman and presidential candidate Michele Bachmann recently reaffirmed her support for Trump, who has given Christian faith leaders unparalleled access to him in the Oval Office. She also testified as to why she believes Donald is a man of faith. Recounted Bachmann in an interview on SiriusXM Progress after making similar comments on stage during the Value Voters Summit. "We were in a meeting with the Vice President and the President, about 25 of us. I know the Vice President. I served with him in Congress, and he is a vocal, committed believer of Jesus Christ himself." Quoting Vice President Mike Pence, she continued, "And he said, I want all of you to know that the President is a committed believer. He is a man of faith." She added, "We don't want anyone, especially a president, to think they are a man under their own authority. They need to be under authority. Whether it's the authority of the Constitution and the laws of the land, but even more importantly under the authority of faith. And I think that helps to regulate our behavior, when we know that we're accountable to something." Bachmann also stated that President Trump understands who put him into the White House, and that is people of faith. She asserted that he's asked God for help and for wisdom, and said, he knows that he needs prayer. Michele recalled, "We've been in the Oval Office with him. We asked him if he wants prayer and he said, sure. We put our hands around him respectfully and we prayed for him." Do you agree with Michele about Trump being a man of faith? Hillary just got booed and called a fascist as she was getting an honorary degree. It's brutal. It is hard to believe that any university, no matter how liberal, would want to associate itself with an embarrassing two-time presidential election loser like Democrat Hillary Clinton. Nonetheless, Swansea University in Wales, Great Britain decided to give her an honorary doctorate. They even went so far as to rename their campus's College of Law as the Hillary Rodham Clinton School of Law. This is obviously a politically oriented move, as the British university is clearly honoring Hillary Clinton to thumb their nose at Republican U.S. President Donald Trump. Unfortunately for Hillary, things did not go as planned for the ex-First Lady. When Hillary arrived at the university's campus and stepped out of the vehicle that brought her there, somebody in the crowd yelled out "fascist" as news cameras rolled. Beyond this, several loud boos were directed at Clinton. Laughably, Clinton was given the honorary doctorate by Swansea University on the grounds that she has championed children's and families' rights, giving no notice to how she has also championed killing unborn children. During her speech at the British University, she made sure to take a pot-shot at the United States during Trump, saying that she still believes in the value of the European Union, and then stating, "What's missing in both of our countries at the moment, it seems to me, and what we need more than anything else, is empathy." During her visit to the United Kingdom, Hillary has also blamed Brexit leader Nigel Farage for somehow causing her to lose the election. Are you glad Hillary got booed in Britain? Las Vegas police just announced what they're going to do with killer Steve Paddock's brain. Words cannot adequately express what a senseless and evil act former IRS employee Steve Paddock committed when he began firing from his 32nd floor suite at the Mandalay Bay Casino in Las Vegas at a crowd of concertgoers nearby at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. Both the Las Vegas police and the FBI have been working diligently to gather clues as to what drove this reclusive man, who had no prior criminal record, to suddenly carry out mass murder, taking the lives of 58 people. They have reportedly followed more than 1,000 leads, but have yet to come up with a clear-cut motivation for Paddock's act. Now they have decided to take things to a scientific level by removing Steve's brain from his corpse and performing a close scientific examination of it. After finishing the autopsy of Paddock, Clark County, Nevada coroner John Freudenberg stated that he found nothing out of the ordinary with the killer's body and announced that now scientists at Stanford University will study it. Stated the New York Post about what the scientists there are aiming to find: microscopic tissue examination can reveal otherwise hidden conditions such as dementia and chronic traumatic encephalopathy or CTE. The report continued, Paddock's brain has so far shown no obvious sign of tumor, injury or abnormality during a more routine autopsy conducted last week by Vegas coroners, according to officials, who have yet to release toxicology results or an official cause and manner of death. What do you think they will discover with the murderer's brain? CNN says that NFL kneelers are really protesting the gender pay gap. The media and the NFL have tried to justify their disrespect of veterans and the American flag in any way they can. They used to claim that the protests were all about police brutality. Now they are branching out into all kinds of liberal causes. According to former wide receiver Dante Stallworth, the protests are also about the gender pay gap. The number one stated goal was to bring awareness to a lot of these issues, and again, it's a broad spectrum of issues. Again, it's not just police brutality and community policing, said Stallworth. Basically, they just want to be an extension of CNN. It's also, again from what I'm hearing from players directly involved in these talks, they're telling me it's also about the gender pay gap, it's also about housing discrimination. They have so many things that they are interested in and advocating for, and they want the NFL to take ownership and help be able to use the NFL's platform, said Stallworth. Maybe we should make it illegal to pay men and women differently for the same work. Oh yeah, it already is illegal. Not just the players' platform but the NFL's platform, and that from what I am hearing is a big conversation, said Stallworth. Apple vice president forced to apologize for saying white people can be diverse. During a speech at One Young World Summit, Denise Young-Smith, Apple's VP of Inclusion and Diversity, tried to suggest that there is diversity besides skin color diversity. People have diversity of thought and experience, and that is also important. However, when Smith expressed this point, she nearly lost her job. And I've often told people a story: there can be 12 white, blue-eyed blonde men in a room, and they are going to be diverse too, because they're going to bring a different life experience and life perspective to the conversation, said Smith. This is the line that made people angry. She was forced to apologize for suggesting such a thing. Last week, while attending a summit in Bogota, I made some comments as part of a conversation on the many factors that contribute to diversity and inclusion. I regret the choice of words I used to make this point. I understand why some people took offense. My comments were not representative of how I think about diversity or how Apple sees it. For that, I'm sorry, she wrote in an email to Apple employees. More importantly, I want to assure you Apple's view and our dedication to diversity has not changed. Understanding that diversity includes women, people of color, LGBTQ people, and all underrepresented minorities is at the heart of our work to create an environment that is inclusive of everyone, she wrote. Our commitment at Apple to increasing racial and gender diversity is as strong as it's ever been. I'm proud of the progress we've made, but there is much work to be done. I'm continually reminded of the importance of talking about these issues and learning from each other, she wrote. Knit editor calls undercover O'Keefe video against them a mortal sin, O'Keefe crushes them. James O'Keefe from Project Veritas exposed the New York Times as being biased, They recorded its editor laughing at the idea of objectivity and bragging about the paper's anti-Trump bias. Another New York Times editor, Jeremy Barr, attacked O'Keefe, saying that exposing the Times was a mortal sin. And that he knows this because he was an altar boy. It was an undercover operation in which James O'Keefe, who I think is a despicable who runs a despicable operation, he essentially trusts to catch people from what he sees as the left-wing media saying inappropriate things. He caught a kid. A guy in his 20s, they portray him as a very powerful figure in the New York Times, wrote Barr. He went on to downplay the things that Nick Judick said and claim that reporting on what he said was far worse. But the greater sin wasn't his, it was theirs. They sent a young woman in as part of their undercover operation who essentially made him think that he was developing a friendship, said Barr. To ding the net, they went after a kid who just started his career in journalism. To ding the net, they went after a kid, and they probably affected his career forever. That's despicable. So yes, he committed a sin and I'll deal with that. I was raised Catholic, that's a venial sin. I was an altar boy. Their sin was a mortal sin, wrote Barr. James O'Keefe responded in one tweet. So why is undercover video journalism a mortal sin when managed by a James O'Keefe but not when it's Soros-funded? Wrote O'Keefe with a link to an undercover sting on the alt-right by the New York Times.